Welcome to Red, White, and Blue. From the right, I'm Gary Polland.
And from the left, I'm David Jones.
Tonight, we welcome the candidates for City of Houston Controller. Their second visit with us. We're excited to have them here. It's a very important race. The Controller's duties are paying municipal bills, supervising performance audits of city departments, chairing the city investment team, certifying availability of funds, and as established under former Controller and Mayor Kathy Whitmire, the city's fiscal watchdog. First up, MJ Kahn, who has an MBA from Rice University and a Master's of Civil Engineering from the University of Illinois. He's been a Houston City Councilman since 2003, and he owns a real estate company in Houston. Next, Pam Holm, a native of Houston, a former school teacher. She's been a full-time council member since 2003. And she's a mother and grandmother. Ronald Green, who is a practicing attorney with his law degree from Texas Southern University and an MBA from the University of Houston. He has also served on the City Council of Houston for 3 terms.
That just says it all. I didn't know that MJ was a Land of Lincoln guy. You know, I may have to vote for him now.
Yeah, your favorite Republican.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, gentlemen, first, and ladies, ladies, and I'll let you go first if you want. The question first on the table is, in the news again, city's fiscal problems. Yesterday, Mayor White was quoted as saying, the city has not been put at financial risk by the present financial crisis. So, is the mayor got it right or got it wrong? Who wants that first? There's talk that the city is in debt between $50 to $1.5 billion if you believe Roy Morales. What's the situation, Pam Holm?
Yeah, I think that there is how you define whether we're in crisis and what is very subjective in anybody's terms. But here are the facts. The facts are that we are spending and have just adopted a budget that spends more than we have in anticipated revenue, somewhere now in the range of $100 million. We have issued pension obligation bonds to build a $300 million reserve fund, which is now being depleted by using it for recurring operating expenses to a point that it is at the state baseline of what we're required to do. We have a rainy day fund that we established that is depleted with no plans to enter into it again. We have pension obligation and pension system issues to address. We're a battleship. We're not going to sink, but we absolutely are challenged and must be. Starting day one, I started saying this last September, but for sure, in our cases, starting January 1, we have got to address some serious issues. Yes, we have challenges. Yes, we have serious.
So the mayor would be wrong, in your opinion?
Well, I think that the mayor is maybe inaccurate in saying that everything is rosy. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Ron, then you sure are going to pick Mr. Morales's analysis of the city fiscal
absolutely,
health.
That would be the best place to be. We are all very cautious. I think what the mayor meant to say, or what was intimated from that, is that based on something that the controller did, I think it was based on her audits or the timeliness of the audits, that didn't put the city at risk. The city is obviously facing a budget gap, and we're all very cautious about that. And so whenever you see that a revenue is not meeting the needs, then of course you've got to be cautious. One of the things that it points out to us is that we've got to make the city a lot more efficient so that we don't risk our future, so that we can put things in place that can cover the budget gap in the short term, but in the long term so that we don't get here again. That's what I think the mayor was talking about.
MJ?
Well, I mean, I know something about finances, so I'm going to talk about from that perspective. If you look at from financial expertise, city is not in any crisis. And I want to be careful, and I would challenge even the mayoral candidate, don't use the politics of fear-mongering in the community. Yes, we have challenges. Things are not as good as they were a few years ago. But can we meet those challenges? Absolutely. Can we meet those challenges without raising taxes? Absolutely. Can we meet those challenges without cutting services? Absolutely. How do we do it? We bring common sense business practices like process re-engineering, which I proposed, like zero-based budgeting, which I proposed, to bring out inefficiency in the system. We have lots of money which is being wasted in the city. That's where the real challenge is. We don't have budget challenge, we have efficiency challenge in the city, and that's what we need to address.
So that you guys are also, you've served on city council.
Let's call you ladies.
You served on city council together. There is this projected shortfall, and you want to be the watchdog of the city's finances. So which one of you has laid out an agenda with projected budget cuts and or revenue enhancements, if you will, so that you can tell us and reassure us that even though it might be a tough sell, that you can help us solve this problem when you're in office. Ron, why don't you start with it?
I'll start with that. One of the things that we have is some low-hanging fruit. We've got some long-term contracts that are out that the City of Houston has let. One thing that I haven't just proposed, one thing that I've done is worked with the Solid Waste Department to renegotiate a long-term waste disposal contract that stands to save the city over $150 million over the next 13 years. One of the things we have to do is be very, very aggressive about getting federal funds. We are paying federal money. We are a donor city, and we have to go to Washington, D.C. to get that money. I've done that. I've gone to Washington, D.C., argued before FEMA, got $2.4 million, brought that back. That's not a proposal. That's what I've done. Also, process reengineering. Councilmember Kahn is right, but I'm the only one in this race that's actually done it. Look at the municipal courts. We're all lawyers. We don't practice there, but one of the things we have done is we've made it a lot more efficient. We've reselected, deselected more than 67 judges. Now we're doing the physical part of that. And revenue is going up. It is on the upswing in the municipal courts. Those are things that put money in the bank today. Not a proposal about what I'm going to do, not a proposal about what some city director ought to do. That's what I've brought to the table and sat down with these directors and helped them do.
I hope you didn't mean to suggest that we have a traffic ticket quota now in order to bring our...
We don't.
Because we don't?
You know what? If we just collected the money and made the process a lot more efficient on just our regular rate of traffic tickets, the city would be in better financial position.
How about layoffs, MJ? Are you ready to project layoffs on the City of Houston?
I absolutely will not be part of approving any layoff or suggesting any layoffs. I don't believe that we need layoff. What we need, our employees are our best resources. What we need, let our employees help us to identify inefficiencies in our system. What I would also do is we don't have to hire everybody which we need. We can have lateral movement from our staff. We can have upward movement from our staff. Private sector does it all the time because we have a staff which is being used inefficiently. And that's what I plan to do. We need to bring our house in order. The problem in the city today is that a lot of our processes are so inefficient that a lot of money is wasted, a lot of man hours are wasted. That's what we need to do to correct those.
Pam?
We have an important election on Tuesday where we're going to elect a new controller. And I think that we need to hit it straight on with where we need to be and what needs to be done. And the questions are we ready to implement it? I think some of our inflated projections of what we have accomplished may not be as accurate as set forward. Our municipal courts, we have twice now invested in systems that don't work because we haven't explored it. There are a lot of things, but what I will bring is two things immediately. First of all, as you said, one of the things that the controller does is the process audit, and the efficiency of our city is relying on the improvement of the efficiency is relying on better processes. And we'll look at it comprehensively, ready to make recommendations for implementation, not for job performance evaluation, but to improve the services and the way that the people are able to deliver it. The second thing we'll do is we will automatically start putting all resources or all expenditures so that they are available for anyone to see. Any item under $50,000, there is no accountability for it. It just, whoever has the authority to spend the money spends it. And I think that not only will it be awakening to some of our citizens as to how some of our money is spent, I think it will bring much accountability. I think it is really misleading to believe that there is going to be revenue sources. Our goal is going to be how we cut expenditures, not how we make more money.
Okay, let's talk about stadiums are in the news again. This week we read that the Sports Authority is going to need a bailout, I guess, from the county. Maybe they'll pass the Tin Cup at the city, too. MJ Kahn, if the Sports Authority comes to the city and you're going to have some say-so on it because you're still on council, you're going to let them have more city money?
No. The problem with the Sports Authority ran into is the swap agreements which they did. And that's why I would be, if going forward in the future, I will be very careful with the city going into swap agreements. These are derivatives kind of vehicles. We don't need that in municipal government, and Sports Authority should not have done it. But now, because they are there, I think the county is responsible to come to their rescue. They should not look towards City of Houston for any revenues.
Do you believe the statements being made by the Sports Authority people that they're not going to be looking to take any taxpayer money when they go for their bailout? Isn't that like a total misstatement of fact?
Well, it may not be, because what they're talking about is that long term they can meet the obligation from the revenues they're going to be collecting from a stadium. It is the short term crunch which they just face because their swap agreements went against them, and that downgrading of the people who are backing them up. They need more money in the short run, and that's where they need help. It is not that in the long term that they will be in problems. So I don't believe that they need to look at more property taxes to meet their obligation. In the short term, they need help, and county should help them.
You mean anybody disagree with MJ's analysis and his answers?
No, I think he hit the nail on the head. It obviously is an issue with the backers. There are several levels that we'll have to go through before you get to the taxpayer and have to ask for a tax increase. But it all is taxpayer money. No, even the TERS money, everything is taxpayer money, so we have to make sure that that's widely known. But I believe that they have got some mechanisms in place going through the backers. And as Councilmember Kahn said, downgrading in the market, the short-term downgrading has affected it. But I don't think taxpayers are willing to foot the bill for anything over and above what's already been sold to them several years ago.
And I think that's important. The taxpayers already are footing this bill. So to say we're not going to go to the taxpayers, you already have. No matter where it comes from, no matter where you go, you've already hit the taxpayer.
So I guess these deals turned out to be not as good for the taxpayers as they were sold to us.
So maybe if anything, there's a good lesson that there are consequences to every action you take.
So maybe we need a watchdog at City Controller.
I don't think there's any question.
I'm sure you're all happy to hear that Gary and I pre-selected questions for me to ask each of you, and you will be given an opportunity to expound, hopefully briefly. And I'll start with you first, Pam. You know, you're the only person I know who's been on Glenn Beck's program. So, because you were the first one that I get to ask this question of, feel free to look into the camera and tell all those people who watch Glenn Beck, tell them what the difference is between capitalism and socialism. Can you do that for us?
What I would rather do is to tell you exactly why we went on Glenn Beck and some of the money.
I'm sure you can, and I think it was about a program that was easily dismissed. But do you know the difference between capitalism and socialism?
Well, yes, I think I do.
Yeah. You want to be city controller. Now tell everybody else what the difference is.
Well, I think that the capitalism is the source of making money, of soaring, and of providing an open system that works for all of us to abound. Socialism is someone declaring and stating the way that you will operate and produce your revenues. It's a different type of management and government.
Speaking of revenues, Ron, of course we know you are deficient in bringing your revenues up to speed as far as the Treasury Department is concerned for several years, I believe. How can you explain to us how that could happen to you and is it fixed yet?
We are working on that. I'm in an open, honest dispute with the IRS. We have been there for some time, and we are working to resolve it with both parties. I think that the voters need to know that I won't let that interfere with my duties, and I am a zealous advocate for myself, and just as I am for the citizens of Houston. So it would be preposterous to think that I won't zealously advocate for myself in this situation, just as I will for my constituents.
And of course, we're looking for a watchdog in Mr. Kahn, and yet as long as I have been doing these shows and hearing you on a couple of them, I've heard nothing out of you that suggests that Bill White has ever done anything wrong or that anything happened under his watch that you didn't approve of, which some people would suggest makes you more of a lapdog possibly than a watchdog. Can you correct my impression?
I will correct, but let me first tell you the difference between capitalism and socialism. Capitalism, when you get to spend your money and decide how to spend it. Socialism, when government tells you how to spend your money and tell you how to spend your money. Having said that, I've disagreed with Bill White many, many times. I disagreed just recently. I was the lone vote against when they tried to change the sign ordinance. I was the lone vote against it. So yes, I have my disagreement, but I don't play politics with this position. And I will never play politics with the elected office. We are here to serve people. And I will go sit with the council members, with the mayor, and tell them where they are wrong and how to correct it, instead of going in front of the camera and the reporter and not offering any solution, just complaining about it. So yes, Bill White has, I think he has been a good mayor. I think I've been fortunate to serve with Bill White because I'm looking good as a council member because a lot of things he did. So yes, we have our agreements, we have our disagreements, and
Excellent.
I don't have any problem sharing with people, but I also believe in offering solutions rather than complaining.
Pam, would you ask a question of first Ron Green and then MJ Kahn?
Okay. Well, I'll go back, Ron. In the final weeks, I have done no investigative work, but in the Houston Chronicle, it was first reported of your tax liens, of $120,000 in tax liens. And I'd just like you to be able, when we have a controller's office that is supposed to be accountable and open and honest, how someone with a master's degree and your experience in finance could be so crossways with the IRS and have not kept up and recognized income that comes in. It seems to me that the very least is that we should all have some kind of an accounting system to keep up with our expenses and our income. Absolutely.
And as I've told you before, and as I've told you when your campaign called me and attempted to blackmail me before they released the information, I have been open and honest about it. It's a public record. I am in a dispute, an honest dispute, that I'm going to zealously advocate for myself. And I think that the citizens of Houston who find themselves in the same situation, theirs doesn't become public. But I can guarantee that I have never had an opportunity to be investigated by the district attorney like you have because of the way you run your council office, and I will run the controller's office in an upward in an above board manner, and certainly I will ask the voters to give me the opportunity to show that I can do the job, but it's very preposterous once again for me to think that I won't lose some votes because of it. And for those, I respectfully, apologize for anything this may cause them. But certainly, I will do this head on. I am going to zealously advocate.
You can ask MJ Kahn a question, maybe a briefer one.
Okay.
Or a long one.
Yes, MJ, you keep talking about all the proposals and all the things you have brought to City Council, but I would like to know, when you voted for the 2010 budget that calls for spending more money than we have projected revenue, that calls for using our pension obligation bonds and issuing them in order to build a reserve fund, and when we've depleted, did you know that?
Yes, and Pam, what you need to understand that our role as a council member is not just to vote for budget up and down. We have an opportunity every year to make changes to the budget. You did not bring a single change to the budget. You did not offer a single amendment. I have a history of proposing things which have improved the city, which have enhanced our revenue, which has saved taxpayer millions of dollars. So my approach and your approach, the difference is, your approach is just to complain, and maybe you don't know about finances, to offer any good amendments. My approach is to look at analyze it, and offer amendments. Just for example, I was the one this year who asked for variance report because I looked at past year budgets. I can look at a budget and see whether the departments are spending the way we approved it. And I asked for variance report. Now it will be part of the monthly, quarterly report.
Thanks, MJ. We're having fun here, but we're running out of time. So, Ron,
Quick question. He's a lawyer. He can answer the question.
Ron, can you do a
question.
quick question for either Pam or MJ?
Oh, absolutely. Councilmember Holm, you have served on City Council for the last 6 years. You've talked about what it is we need in general terms to make our city brighter and so that our battleship won't sink. Please explain to us what you've done over the last 6 years that has increased the financial viability of this city, other than complain.
Oh, thank you. Now, I'm very proud of some of the actions and the shepherding that I've taken in order to build better process and to make our city. For all of us, the role of an elected official is to make life better for citizens and to make life the quality of life of all Houstonians better and to make it more secure. So some of the things that I've done as a council member, in addition, is created for the first time shepherded a historic preservation that allows us to financially not take an input on it, but to restore and keep our city whole and solid. We've brought forward ideas with the police in order to make sure that we are protecting our citizens and the viability and the strength of our citizens are through boots on the ground. We have initiated the complete plan of partnership in building libraries so that the community participates in the libraries of that. We've brought a quiet zone forward.
Question, so
yes.
I'm afraid, and we want to make sure that MJ, Ron, I'll get back to you. We want to make sure that MJ gets at least one question in. So who would you direct a question to?
I will ask one from Ms. Holm. Pam, we are in campaigns and everybody is trying to do the best they can. But why are you lying about me? You said a mail piece where you insinuated that I took a trip to Napa Valley on taxpayers' expense. I've never been to Napa Valley even on my own expense. Why are you lying about me? And you're running a radio ad where you're attacking me and about on lies that Keith Ellison called President Bush a Hitler or something, and I checked with him, he never called that. So why have you chosen to lie in the campaign?
Thank you. The one thing I will tell you is I never lie. We put a piece of information out based on the reports from the Houston Chronicle, September 2008.
The Houston Chronicle never said that I went to Napa Valley.
I don't think my report said you went to Napa Valley.
Oh, it says Ron Green, MJ Kahn, Napa Valley.
Secondly, I think that you did just receive something, and it's, frankly, I think it's a really good question. I'm glad you opened it up because there is a report that you gave $1,000 to a congressman, Keith Ellison, that has made some pretty dramatic and radical positions in some people's eyes.
Your radio says he calling President Bush Hitler. He never said that. Why are you lying?
Okay, now we have a nice discussion. Maybe we'll finish it. Ron, you have another question for the other opponent who you did not previously question.
Councilmember Kahn you have mentioned that you've proposed process re-engineering, you have proposed zero-based budgeting, and you've proposed all sorts of things that have saved the city millions of dollars. What have you actually which department have you actually worked with to help them become a better department? What hands-on activity have you engaged in other than through the proposals during the budget process, which I chaired?
Yeah, Ron, again, you have to know what the role of the council members is. Council members are not executives of the departments. Council member is a legislative body. The best opportunity we have is at the table to propose things, get them approved with your colleagues and with the mayor, and get them implemented so city runs more efficient. That's what my history has been. Now, as controller, I will be the executive of a department, and that's where I can, use my experience and my expertise in management. And by the way, in my own council office, for every year since I've been in council office, I saved money for the taxpayer. I have lowest turnover. I have the happiest group of people working there because I'm a good colleague to work with.
And today I'm the executive, and I get to ask a question, and for you to direct your question to your other opponent that you have not.
Ron?
Whoever's next.
I want to know where you stayed in Napa Valley.
No, I know. Right, Ron, my question for you would be, look, you knew about the challenges you have about IRS, and you knew it all this time, and it's unfortunate, and I feel bad for you. Why didn't you take care of it for all this time you had? And if you were unable to take care of it, do something, because that's the last step from IRS. And secondly,
you could ask for a loan from Peter
why
Brown.
did you decide? Why did you decide to run for public office with this kind of baggage?
Well, first of all, and I'm glad you mentioned baggage because a carpetbagger typically knows a lot about that. But I will tell you, I am in a dispute with the IRS. I am clearly a person who, as I said before, I will advocate for myself. But let me tell you, I care a lot about this community, and I found myself in a race that I knew that at least one person didn't think enough of any Houstonian to live in this city. And so I felt that I would offer myself up and continue to work for my constituents, those who I think enough of to live with.
Who doesn't live in the city? I'm not following you.
Councilmember Kahn. We all know that Councilmember Kahn does not live in the city.
Not true.
He doesn't live in the city, or he doesn't live in his district?
He does not live in the city of Houston.
Oh.
So I think we can be very clear about that. And then for anybody to run for an office who does not think enough of the citizens to subject their own family to the challenges as well as the successes of this city, I think says a lot about them.
Didn't they say Bill White wasn't living in the city of Houston either when he ran? I'm asking. I thought that was the story.
I've been to Bill White's house, but I think he lives in the city. I've been to his house.
Well, I think that's it. We did it all. You all asked good questions. You were good sports. I want to thank you all for coming, and we wish all three of you good luck on Tuesday. Before we go to the close, I want to tell our viewers that under my vernacular as editor of the Texas Conservative Review, I have endorsed a candidate for city controller. That does not reflect PBS's position, as PBS is a nonprofit organization, doesn't endorse anyone. But I can say all three of these people are fine people, and whoever the city ends up with, I think they're going to do a good job. You can view tonight's show along with a follow-up discussion, plus find out more about Red, White, and Blue. Just visit us at HoustonPBS.org, so check it out. And until next time, get informed and get active, and please vote on Tuesday. It's very important. These candidates have worked very hard for a long time. They deserve your vote and attention.